Ladies and gentlemen, those of you who aren't tired of my face from watching Tony's live, I'm live again. Live. It's alive. Indeed. No one's here yet. But, as usual, I will sing sea shanties until people get here. Oh, wait, there's people here. I don't have to sing nothing. Hey, Chris Greenaway's in the chat first. First Responder Garage is in the chat. Howdy, Damien. Charlie Roma is in the chat. What's going on, brother? Buff Del Campo, Turbo Del Campo is in the chat. You kicking Dale's Auto and Random Repairs. Mike, what's going on, brother? Brian M is also in the chat. How's everybody? I felt bad. I couldn't really keep up with the chat during Tony's live. If I had had time to set everything up, I would have put my laptop probably next to the phone or vice versa. Bruce Culkin's in the chat. Howdy, Bruce. Chris Greenaway saying, when are we doing a live car show? I'll do it. Like I said, I gotta get a couple more cars, man. Yeah, it's that was really cool. It's always interesting to get to talk to Tony. Kiwi's a great dude. At Zero, I've known since my wee younger years, so it's nothing new talking to him, but just the same, to get everybody together is really cool. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Kathy. That was a lot of fun. Got to make sure to keep up with after the Tony. Buff Del Campo saying there were two of you and Tony. Yeah, I looked in the chat. I read Darren Dada Lebreton. I read his comment, and then for some reason it just I hit the wrong button. I'm dumb. Brian saying I fell off a ladder helping the neighbor putting up Christmas lights. I overextended my arm as well. Well, that's no good at all. You're not too beat up, are you, brother? I mean, I'm sure that doesn't feel great, but you never know if it's like, is it going to hurt you in 20 years? The Kickendale's Auto and Random Repairs took the dash out of the XJ again yesterday. Still chasing a wiring gremlin down. Ever seen a Switch Plus feed get continuity to ground when the ignition switch is off, but have no chafed wires? It's I mean, I think I might have seen something similar in the old Chevys. If the voltage regulator doesn't get enough resistance, it'll have continuity, so your engine won't turn off when you turn off the ignition. I think that might be a similar thing. I'm probably just dumb. Ryan, I'm sore, but okay. I'm glad to hear it, man. I'm glad to hear it. Chris Greenaway saying, "What's up with the porno pic for Fubar?" I think that was that Lionel Richie or Teddy Pendergrass or something? Tom Brown's in the chat. Tom, I was supposed to send you an indie shifter like 2 months ago, man. I'm sorry. I'm brain dead. Buff Del Campo saying, I don't like crawling under cars, but I hate going up ladders. You can't be scared of the ladder. That's the secret. If you're, let me get a little further away from the camera. How about that? If you're scared of the ladder, you're going to go down. But you got to live by, when the ladder wants you, it'll take you. It's a luck thing. Kevin Clancy is in the chat saying, hey, Ari, been a while. Happy Thanksgiving, sir. Happy Thanksgiving, Kevin. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I forget about the holidays and greetings and stuff. Nowadays, it's offensive to greet people and all that. So, no, I'm just kidding. But happy Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had a good holiday. Anybody do anything really crazy? Anything cool? Barrow's Garage is in the chat, brother Bear. The taco place, that's a solid. That's one for the books, man. That's one for the books. Out here, brother Bear, the taco place is like there's a carniceria across the street, El Molino de Oro, and there's no DJ. But it's a huge place, man, and they're freaking hustling in that kitchen. It's kind of cool to see. Buff Del Campo saying I can fly single place planes, alarming altitudes, but a ladder or a roof, I'm in trouble. Yeah, true, but I mean, if you lose altitude on the ladder, there's nothing to bring you back up. Chris Greenaway saying, I'm good once I'm up, but going down is another issue. We have a platform at work with a sketchy ladder that feels off. Yeah, sometimes they're like that. Brian said, I went to my neighbor's John's house. It was total debauchery. Fun stuff. Yeah, you text me, man. I forgot to text you back. I spent most of the weekend. I helped one of my buddies move. They're a family I've known since I was like 9 years old. So I helped them move their stuff into a U-Haul, and today I helped them haul some trash and the rest of their plants. Actually, I'm going to do a short about that. I got a tiny bit of video. Mopar Man 1978 is in the chat. Tom Brown saying you have to be like those Japanese fire competition videos. They're 3/4 of the way up the ladder before it even hits the wall. I got to check that out. Buffalo Compost saying airplanes are so stable, ladders aren't. Yeah. Kickendall saying I used to climb the ship's mast to do antenna maintenance. Glad I don't do it anymore. Yeah, that sounds pretty crazy. Burroughs Garage is saying he'll be back down this way next week. We'll have to get together. Definitely, man, definitely. I mean, I got work, but besides that, I'm completely open, man. I'll drive down there, we'll meet up here, go wherever, man. Jonathan Drums, formerly John Marimba. What's going on, John? How are you? Probably going to fall asleep to y'all. Been a while. Happy belated Thanksgiving. Hey, good to see you, John. I hope everything's well with you, brother. I appreciate you. Even if you're just stopping in, it doesn't matter, man. It's good to hear from you. I hope everything's stellar. How are the Fords? No poor man saying I was off for Thanksgiving and no family drama or morons to deal with. That sounds pretty rad. Yeah, that's a win. Yeah, I was happy to help my friends move. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. You know, it's kind of hectic no matter how you do it, and it helps to have someone that's, you know, the truck helps, and then just me being able to pick stuff up, that helps. Abel D's in the chat. Abel, you still want financial advice, man? Dakota's timeout is in the chat. Howdy, Dakota. It's Ollie's Auto Clinic saying, anyone enjoy watching junkyard walkthroughs, thinking about documenting some of the cool stuff I keep seeing? Zolly, I always appreciate them. You know, even if it's nothing that relatable, I just like the junkyards. I'm a hoarder, so I like seeing old stuff there. Mexican Spec is in the chat. Howdy, Mexican Spec. How you doing, brother? Welcome to the Brotherhood of Moderators. Kickendall's asking how life south of the border is going. Abel D saying, love the advice on Craigslist looking for rusty investments. Yeah, you got to make sure to have all your money tied up in something that pretty much has no value. Mexican Spec saying, I'm in the Uncle Tony's family now. Do I get phone numbers? Of course, man. I thought you had my phone number or WhatsApp or something. I know you have my email, but dude, you can call me whenever you want. What the hell? I'm nobody special. Kevin Clancy saying, thanks, Ari, for your moderating, and welcome Mexican Spec as new UTG moderator. Yeah, of course, man. Nowadays, there's not so much to do. When he first started doing lives, there was all kinds of spam and rude people and everything else. Nowadays, I just put up links and run my mouth, so not too bad. Zolly's Auto Clinic saying, see an almost perfect Ford Tempo and a couple K cars in great shape in the yard. I'm sure someone would find them interesting as me. Yeah, definitely, man. I'll try to watch. Landon Custom Classic, Cousin Mike. Cousin Mike is in the chat. What's going on, Michael? Mike, you texted me earlier, but yeah, Dakota's got my phone number. Mike's got my phone number. He's saying it's 29 here tonight. Almost snowed last night. Cold enough to freeze the balls off a brass monkey. Yeah, Mexican Spec, you can totally have my number. Cousin Mike saying my number is 911. It is. Chris Greenaway saying, I wish I was a mod, but I don't know if I can handle the power. With great power comes great responsibility. Abel saying, I found Ari's number at a stall for a good time. Yeah, you know, it's in the men's room at a few dives around here too. I don't understand why. You know what I mean? I have cards for that purpose. Dakota saying, I will sell Ari's phone number for $125 through PayPal. That's probably how much he needs for the Dodge, the radiator for the Dodge. Tom Brown saying, Kicking Dallas high of 31 here today. Tom, you said you're in North Dakota, aren't you, Tom? Cousin Mike saying, I'll send you a free doll made of Ari's hair. Good Lord. Annie Boyd saying, men's room? What about bathroom attendants? Oh, man. One of the concert venues out here had a really cool bathroom attendant. That guy had everything. He'd probably have a kidney if you tipped him right. Dakota saying, no, I JB welded the radiator to last forever. Nice. Yeah, Tom Brown's in North Dakota. So he's 31 is probably as warm as it will get for some time. Dan saying, WTF, I was in the Charlotte airport and they have these damned attendants in the bathrooms watching you. Creepy. What is that? That's like being on probation, man. That's horrible. Kickendall saying, how about some pocket lint, a 30-year-old piece of Big Red I found in the seat pocket of the junkyard. A genuine used rusty bolts from a Yugo. That's more than you get sometimes. Chris Greenaway saying, Rice Krispies is the worst, best cereal. On their own complete shit. With banana and sprinkled sugar, the bomb. How can it be so good and so terrible at once? Mopar Man saying, I need collector glasses for merch. Kevin Clancy saying, I was pretending to be Clark Griswold today on my rickety extension ladder, clipping up Christmas lights. You know what's funny is like I'm such an apartment dweller Californian that I've never in my life put up Christmas lights. I want to be like the guy from Edward Scissorhands, on Christmas time in the morning, just up there singing and stapling stuff. Oh, man. Abel saying didn't get the car Kiwi wants to pick up. It's a 59 Plymouth. It's, I think, a Plymouth Suburban. Mexican Spec needs to start selling the license plates. I would buy one. Aunt D's in the chat. What's going on, brother? How are you? Paul Pidgewey's in the chat. Howdy, Paul. He's saying wagon. Yeah, it's like a station wagon, but it's a Plymouth, so it's different. Some kind of Chrysler. It's some kind of something. It's not Chevy. I know it's not Chevy. That's all I know. Howdy, Paul. How are you, man? I was almost reluctant to go live. I was on Tony's for about an hour 45. I've been on it today. I showed up here, and my pops was waiting around because he needed me to change his oil. So I go, and he's got a Mercedes, so I pop the little diaper cover off the bottom. I get my oil pan going, and I pull the drain plug, and the oil's just not draining. And I realize, I look at the plug for the pan, the center little plug. It's a Dorman style oil pan. And the threads had separated midway through. So it was still plugged. So I spilled about a good, closer to 8 quarts of oil, synthetic, on the ground. And it was bad. It was rough. So, what would have been probably 20, 30 minutes of oil change turned into a nightmare. A nightmare. Paul just woke up. John's saying it's Plymouth, so it's different. Dave Lewis is in the chat. Howdy, Dave. Tom Brown saying, get new shoes on the 71C20 tomorrow. New 10 plies for towing. Nice. Kicking Down saying, best Mopar wagon, 69 Plymouth Grand Fury wagon. Man, I want one so bad. They made some good looking cars. Captain Crunch with rum. Breakfast for former sailors. Dave Lewis is saying, get the oil dry out. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I had to. Oh man, I got creative. I was able to clean up the mess. And somewhere in the fray, I had like placed the drain plug and the plug for the actual Mercedes somewhere. It was quite the ordeal, but I was able to get my father's oil changed. So that was good. You know, pops don't have to worry about it. And I don't know. I think he was happy about it. You know, in my younger years, I probably would have lost my shit over something like that. But nowadays, I'm just able to grumble and get it done. So I think that's me maturing slightly. Maybe he's proud. I don't know. Dan saying I should have gone live this afternoon. That way you'd be before, during, and after the Tony. Mexican Spec saying Tony's live with Dead Dodge Garage. He left us for him. He likes that show, man, and I'm sure I know I've caught some of their videos, but Dead Dodge Garage is a pretty smart dude. I'm sure he's having fun over there. John's asking if I chase the oil with gasoline, bleach, and nitromethane. If I had it on hand, I would. It got soaked up with a blanket from the trash, and then sprayed down with Super Clean, because Super Clean. It's not just clean, it's super clean. And then, of course, rinsed into a drain for the ocean creatures to enjoy. Andy's saying, what kind of Merc? Last one I did an oil change on. You vacuumed the oil out, never went under the car. Andy, it's I forget what the model is. It's some kind of, I call it a German spectacle, like Blazing Saddles. I know, yeah, spec is to just suck the oil out through the dipstick tube, which is great. I think that's a better method because you don't have to take the diaper off. It's only like 6 or 7 little 8mm bolts, but it's fine when the oil pan works, when the drain pan works. You know what I mean? Ate Grace is in the chat. Howdy. But it didn't work. Rose Garage is saying, first time I changed the oil in my 01 Dodge Cummins, I got pulled away, came back in a hurry to get it done, and forgot to put the drain plug back in. On the 6th quart, I felt something on my foot. Rose Garage is saying that was an expensive oil change. Man. Buffalo Compo is asking if I took the blanket outside and lit it on fire. No such luck. Mexican Specs, I don't let anybody bug me in the middle of something. I know bad things will happen. Well, that was my problem, is I was kind of rushing through it. And then the cheap plug on the Dorman pan snapped in two. That was kind of, I would have had to been paying a little more attention to notice that, and I wasn't. So I don't want to blame it myself. But again, Pops has got new oil, so that's what matters. Kickendall saying, I tried to change the oil by putting a shop vac in the oil fill port. Thought it was BS YouTube hack, but pulled the plug and not a drop came out until I turned the vacuum off. It was cool as heck. That's pretty rad. Well, I've seen that. You use the vacuum so it doesn't. That's pretty great. Tom Brown saying, I have my 8-year-old girl out helping me put new points in my 71 GS. I think she grasped it pretty well. When setting the dwell, she said, go back a little. It was a little better at 29 instead of 30. That's rad, man. Got to teach them. Miss Olive Drab is in the chat. Howdy, Olive. Abel's saying, so no intervention of Californian tree huggers with blue hair. No one saw anything. That was the best part. No one witnessed my failures except for my father, which is much like most of my life. But Foggy's in the chat. What's going on, brother? George is in the chat. What's going on? How are you? Blessings to all. He says, blessing to you, man. John saying, Greta says, how dare you? There's a lot of irony to that, the whole Greta Thunderbird thing, you know? Like, she's from Sweden. You know what else is from Sweden is shippable furniture. Like, you can't, like, is there anything that landfills are more full of than shippable furniture? Like, come on. Oh, man. Anyway. Barrow's Garage say, Mexican spec, I hear you, man. Sometimes you end up doing an FV intake twice as well. And like a fool, you video it to admit you were stupid. Yeah. Dan saying, Volvos. Cousin Mike just linked Ate Grace's channel. Check her out. It's a cool channel. She vlogs out in Texas and lots of cool live streams, cool things to eat, traveling, whatever you need. It's on there. Abel D saying furniture and horse meatballs. Excuse me, guys. Olive saying, yes, I like Volvos. Auntie Grace is telling Cousin Mike that she loved him a long time. Kevin Clancy saying, I once dumped 5 quarts of brand new oil into my driveway. Thought the plastic funnel was down in the valve cover. Nope. I was so pissed at myself. Yeah, the new oil thing I haven't done. I've left a drain plug loose before. I didn't torque it. And got a little dribble off of that. But it was my car, so that's forgiven, I guess. And again, today there really wasn't much to be done outside of just take the L and let the oil make a mess, which again, it really sucked. It really sucked. But, you know, like I said, I was able to get Pops' oil changed. And plus, you never forget it. We made some memories today. So what are you going to do? Dan saying, I had a new oil filter leak once. I noticed that the oil filter light didn't go off and shut her down. If you catch it early, it's good. I thought like the pan wasn't venting. It never occurred to me because, I mean, it's just got the little drain plug for the middle, right? But it just snapped in the center of the threads. I guess I just muscled that thing in there the last time. And luckily, it's not my driveway. It's just a parking lot, so I'm an ass. I really don't like doing stuff like that. I throw down cardboard. You know, I'm religious with my rags. I hate making a mess. So it was like all these, but every now and then I get covered in some kind of petroleum product. Cousin Mike's linking the great Kevin Clancy. Check out Kevin. Watch his videos. Observe his greatness. Abel's asking how the new gig is. Does it still feel like a new gig, or have you settled in? I mean, a little of both. I think I'm settling in okay. It's a lot better than the last job. I mean, just a lot better. As far as normalcy, consistency, better pay, you know what I mean? I'm finally getting back on my feet, being able to take care of some stuff. So that it's going well, I think, man. John's saying modern Ford oil plugs are half a turn and pointed straight out the back, or pointed out the back of the car instead of down. 9 hot quarts straight down the back. That stuff will travel. Cousin Mike saying I've turned. I'm going to make my truck an E-Patchy. Tom Brown saying I worked at a quick car lube in Cleburne, Texas. They had one of those industrial vacuums that was made for holding the oil up in the heads in case the plug did not seal, and had to replace it. Dave Lewis is saying had a water tower mishap once, washed down 11-story building with 10,000 gallons of water. I can't beat that, Dave. I cannot beat that. One of my favorite ones was dropping the oil pan on this rat rod truck that was lifted up in the air. It was real high up in the air. The truck it's called Frankenmater. You can Google it. I guess it's famous. But I was changing the oil pan gasket. It's a turbo 400. So I was just inching the pan down and just doing the normal thing. And I was letting it drain its initial, it's just that initial drain when you drop it down. And I start to tilt this thing. And I think one of the bolts caught or something. So I spilled a bunch of the oil. And then I cleaned that mess up. It was starting to drain. Then the wind kicked up. I took a shower in ATF. That's what ATF stands for, is Ari the F up. Barrel's Garage is saying, speaking of torquing a drain plug, the logging company I used to work for used to torque all of the oil filters and drain plugs to the point the back tires came off the ground. Abel's asking, who found UTG first, you or Zero? I found the channel. I sent it straight to @0 because it's like he's talking about darts and slant sixes, and that's all stuff I learned about because of @0. So we just kind of fell right into place. I was like, hey, dude, this is kind of, I'm watching this. This is my thing because of you, but it's kind of your thing because it's your thing, But, you bring the right minds together. Barrel's Garage is saying, a couple of those filters I had to cut off. I was wondering why we had so many oil leaks. Dave's saying water running down the steps and out of the elevator. Damn. That's like biblical, man. That's out of control. At least it wasn't synthetic. Oh, poor man saying, Tony didn't do the turkey lumberyard fire this story this year. John saying, at least ATF smells better than gear oil. Some of my jeans still wear the stench of old 9-inch. The gear oil I can deal with. I think it's the Ford friction modifier. Like old Ford friction modifier has got to be like the most pungent, like that stuff's evil. Mexican Spec saying Tony's a riot on dead Dodge Garage. Kathy has a mic. I feel like I'm missing something now. Should I call the live? Should cancel this live. Go watch that. That's funny. That is funny. I'm just, it's cool seeing them loosen up and stuff. You know what I mean? I know it's, they got a lot on their shoulders a lot of the time. So it's cool seeing them chill out, do the dog stuff, enjoy YouTube a little more rather than, go through all the hustle and everything, deal with weirdos. John saying, yeah, combination of skunk and burnt hair. That's accurate. That's sad how accurate that is. Barrow's Garage is saying, I remember Uncle Tony's Garage first super quick videos and thought he was okay. It was his first sit down and talk video that hooked me on his channel. Yeah, like I said, you know what I mean? There just wasn't a lot of people on YouTube talking about, points ignition and using existing systems. So I kind of gravitated because of that. There was, holy crap, there's a huge spider on the wall. Hold on, guys. I have to go deal death. 2 seconds. Back fiend. Man, fucker had some size. Bastard. Oh. Sorry, guys. All is well. Peace in the valley. But yeah, Tony's channel's always kind of just had that appeal to me because it's not, there's not a lot of money bag solutions to everything. You know what I mean? He's got a practical solution, and You know what I mean? It's like how many people on the internet are advocating for, keeping stock brake systems and just using what you have? Like there's not an abundance of people doing that. Tom Brown saying eight-legged freaks. That one wasn't too bad, but it was one of those like wood spiders or something. I'm not too fond of them. I'll let wolf spiders live. I really like wolf spiders. They're pretty, so it's like I feel like an ass killing them. But that guy's in my domain. John saying now Greta is mad about the spider for sure. Yeah, if this was like the Pacific Northwest, there would be like a vigil going down for the spider right now. Mopar man saying, well, I was able to buy a new tire for the front of my truck last Friday. We got to wait to buy the other one this week so I can start driving it. And he's saying my favorite early UTG videos by far the Weight Watcher video, Weight Watcher short. Buff's asking if I saw the videos when they had a snake in the house. I didn't see that. I've been missing a lot of the videos, Buff. I've been a horrible YouTuber lately. I haven't uploaded anything. I haven't been watching anything. I've been kind of nose to the grindstone with this job, just trying to focus on that because I mean it feels a little more stable. You know what I mean? I feel like I should have been doing something like this the past couple years, and I'd probably be in a better boat. So, John's saying I'll light a candle for the spider just in case. Thanks, John. Rose Garage is saying most channels that make it are the ones that tell you how much to spend. Give him total credit for how he keeps it relatable without high pockets. Yeah, yeah, Buff. I mean, it's not anything special, but it's better than sure as hell better than working for Ray and his circus of a shop. So I mean, it's a win. I feel like I changed my angle here. This is oh, you guys got it. I'll show you guys my tripod here. Oh dear. This is how real YouTubers hold up their camera. I just set the phone right here in the primaries there. Sorry guys, I had to share. But yeah, Tony's got a lot of good solutions, you know what I mean? And I like that he reuses things, he reconditions things. Everybody always wants to replace everything outright, which I get it. You know what I mean? If it's within your budget, it's how you like to do things, do it. I'm not saying that it's bad to replace things, but Heroes Garage saying best use for a Holly I've seen all week. Tom Brown's asking where I'm working now. Tom Brown, I work as a contractor through a company. I don't really like to admit this, but I'm working on EVs right now. But it's just assembly, production, and it's good work. Opar man saying as far as the drum brakes, I drove my Dart with 4 9-inch drum brakes for a few years. Drums have their ups and downs. Yes, I kept up on the maintenance. John saying, you see, the carburetor phone holder is perfect. Teapot tripod might be cool. No, Buff, the job with the trucks fell through. The job with the trucks kind of fell through. They were kind of giving me the runaround, which was genuinely a bummer. I was very upset about that because I felt like I fell in really well there. But again, you know what I mean? There was an issue as they tried to say I didn't meet some kind of pre-employment qualifications, whatnot. And even though I had been working for a week, then they tried to say it was an issue with my location and which shift I was going to be working on. So they were kind of... no, Tom, I work on let me try to get this thing straight again. Can I do it? Can it be done? Can it be done? Will it be done? I will be done. No, I work on the Rivian trucks, Tom. Mopar Nut 62 saying 9-inch drums are fine. The small upper ball joint, it's a small upper ball joint that has to go. Mopar Nut saying I got my 72 converted to 74 big ball joint fast. Mopar Nut, is that something I should probably think about on my 64 Dart? Mopar Man saying the Branson area has large steep hills, and mix that with idiot tourists and an antique Dart like mine, it was nerve-wracking with 9-inch drums. Yep. Barrow's Garage is saying I agree with Jay Leno in Idiocracy with the EVs. I'd own one and drive one if it was practical here in rural Idaho. Not to save the planet, but so I could put more 94 octane in a big block Ford. Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Buff Del Campo saying, Rivian, is there room somewhere in those for a gasoline engine? Abel saying, are you going to build an EV Rivian one part at a time from your lunchbox? No. Yeah, it's weird, you know what I mean? I initially, I kind of feel like I'm working for the enemy, but I work mainly building prototypes. So, I mean, obviously they're a new company. The DOT requires companies to test however many of their vehicles, and so I build a lot of the prototypes, and I'm just in the chassis section. So, I mean, there's one station before me. They drop in the motors and some of the rear suspension, and basically everything else, the electrical systems, battery, the high voltage, the base, a lot of the running systems I end up installing. I and a team of a few other people end up installing, and it's good work. Like I said, after hot rods and customs, it's honestly like playing with Legos. There's not a lot of thinking, so it's not bad. Honestly, I don't know why bother with a Rivian when there's plenty of gas truck. Yeah, again, you know what I mean. Girls Garage is saying, want an EV with manual window, no radio, no nothing. Strip that thing down to basics. That's fair. There's a lot of, I mean, like I said, they're marketed as luxury vehicles, so they got a lot of amenities. They got some cool stuff. They're cool. You know what I mean? It's an interesting thing. I don't see it as like, the answer to all answers or anything like that. But it's if you got a lot of money to throw around, it's something cool to have. Buff Del Campo saying prototyping is fun. I dig it, Buff. I mean, I really dig it. I feel like, I like it because the more precise I do my work, the more accurate their test results are. So I feel like, I'm contributing to like a science experiment. I guess I essentially am, you know what I mean? So that's really interesting to me. Um, Again, you know what I mean? And, helping fabricators and other more talented people than myself build a car from nothing. You know what I mean? That really helps. So it's like, again, after that, someone else has kind of done the engineering and the thinking. So it's easy for me just to get in there and put it together and kind of troubleshoot whatever little stuff I do have to. John saying it was a 51, 52, 53. Mopar not saying electric cars will never be practical till they solve the fire issue. Yes, it's genuinely terrifying. All I'm saying, for an EV, I'd like to convert a Pinto or VW Squareback, throw in third and go. Tom Brown saying ribbons are cool. They need to come up with a way to unlock the hubs, though. Saw a video where they were towing one out of a trail and had to literally drag it out for miles. Ouch. Yeah. Buff, they weigh about 6,300 pounds. Mopar not saying you can have a car burn for 2 weeks. It's genuinely terrifying, man. Nathan's Mopar Garage is in the chat. Nathan, how are you? I mean, it's the sprinkler system in the building's unlike anything I've ever seen. It's pretty complicated and it's hopeful at best. Able D is saying my Rivian on my resume is going to propel me to the Energizer Bunny. John saying the Pinto would still be unsafe at any speed. Brad Hudson's in the chat. Howdy, Brad. Welcome. Yeah, John, 6,300 pounds. Barrow's Garage is saying Buff Del Campo, the Tesla Model S is over 4,000 and weight distribution is horrible on them. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's not, you know what I mean? It's kind of, it's just its own thing. I don't know how else to say. You know what I mean? I try not to be cynical about it just because, I really want to stay open-minded, working on them and everything. But, oh, yeah, Buff, they're fast. They're fast. There's 800 something horsepower. Because, I mean, you got to imagine it's got the four motors. Well, it's technically dual motor because, I mean, even though one motor consists of two, because it's one for each wheel, and it's around 800 horsepower. And because of the traction assist and everything like that, having a motor on each wheel, they handle well. They're cool. Like I said. Nathan's Mopar Garage picked up a carb for his intake. It's the old 69 340 intake. Badass. Kevin Clancy saying, my driver's ed instructor referred to the Pinto as the shake and bake. Paul Pajui saying, there's nothing wrong with learning about new technology. Yeah, Paul, like I said, I really try to stay open-minded about it because it's I mean, I'm the type, I'll beat myself up about anything. My handkerchief. Terrence Seymour's in the chat. I'm like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be working on this or that. But of course, it's always extremes with me. It's like I go from hot rods and customs into a diesel shop to building prototype EVs. So it's like, I'm all over the place. But I'm just happy that I'm helpful in any environment like that. You know what I mean? There was a time where I wasn't confident doing this kind of work for a living. I would do it on I'd work on my own vehicles. I love turning wrenches, but it wasn't how I made my money. And now that it's how that I make my money, I'm just kind of proud of that. Paul's saying, then driving home in a 60-year-old truck. Yeah, everybody loves the truck there. Everybody really loves the truck. I've gotten tons of compliments. People are like, you really daily drive that thing? You daily drive a V8? I'm like, yeah, it's what I use. It's what I use. Mopar Nuts saying new tech should be simple, not more complex. Again, you know what I mean? I think a lot of it's complex for the sake of it. You know what I mean? They're trying to kind of reach for the stars and make everything as much as it can be. And I mean, you guys see what I drive. I've got like a tractor with some automotive amenities. But, it just depends what you're into, I guess. It's just, again, the other side of the fence. You got folks like us that are kind of advocating for simple and more serviceable systems. Then you got people who are like, I want to build a spaceship, So it's like you gotta, somewhere in the middle, I guess we all fall. Buff Del Campo saying, I worked on and flew a UAV that was solar and electric. Went over 70,000 feet altitude and would stay up for a month. That's pretty badass. John saying, sounds like Ari is good at making stuff, good at making mistakes. Mopar Man saying, even worse is sound system speakers to make muscle car idling rev sounds for an EV. Yeah, that's bad. I like when they make the Jetsons sound, though. When the electric cars make that, like, Jetsons, like, whoop, 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 like, kind of sound, that's cool to me. Tom Brown saying, at a car show, a Tesla guy was bragging about the torque when I snickered. He asked what I drove, and I said, big block Buick. Oh. Yeah, the blue Buick's got him pretty beat. Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying Mopar Nut that will work. All the cheap ones I see have no heat crossover. Mopar Man saying, or Mopar Nut saying, electric car is like a blow up doll. Fake. All I'm saying, Rivians are at least aiming at a more useful truck. Well, they market them. It's an adventure truck. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's an EV that you can get out there and do things with. You can tow with it and everything else. And you know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's so new that, of course, you're going to run into issues. It's not going to work perfectly. Look at me, I'm deluding myself. But you know what I mean. I just try to admire the enthusiasm as best I can. And so far, you know, again, I still work as a contractor and everything, but it's been a real good experience working around them. They're a cool company. The other day, you know, I was sitting down with like two or three engineers talking something over, and yeah, I'm still an idiot, but it sure did make me feel important. uh, Barrow's Garage is saying, I'm an odd duck though. I'd rather have a Pinto or a Mustang 2 than a Fox Buddy. Fox Body. I'm sorry, but the Fox to me looks like a Tempo more than a Mustang. Olive's got a great point saying, change the fake engine sounds to TIE Fighter. Yeah, more Star Wars is good. Abel D saying, Primo Ari, I get thumbs up from people picking up their new Teslas from the dealership down the street from my house as I drive out the dealership driveway, as they drive out the dealership driveway. Buff, my pickup weighs about 4,200 pounds, probably around 4,100 with all the crap I've taken off of it. Yeah, the 59 Rusty Landy. Abel, that was something too. The first time I saw a Rivian truck was on the freeway down here, and I didn't really know the guy was coming up, you know, passing me on the left, but he actually slowed down to check out my truck. And I thought that was cool, you know, because I had at the time had never seen a Rivian before, and the fact that this dude's driving some, you know, top-notch futuristic vehicle and still takes the time to slow down and appreciate the Apache. I was like, you know, there's something there. Paul's saying, someone I once worked with told me that there was a fine line between driving an old vehicle because it's cool and driving an old car because he was a loser. Yeah, yeah, I'm right there, man. I walked that line. Mopar Nut saying the only safe electric car is a slot car, AFX. Tom Brown saying the video of the Dodge Challenger electric, they stole the sound clip directly from the Wraith movie car. I'm sure of it. Huh. Mopar Nut saying, yeah, a population of losers can't drive sticks and change a tire. Nice future on the way. Amen. Barrow's Garage saying amen. Henny Boyd saying, I'm sorry, honey, but I forgot to take my Rivian. Buff Del Campo saying, you never saw a Rivian and you never saw a 60 Chevy. On the freeway coming home, there was a guy with a beautiful, beautiful long bed 61 Apache. And I see him from a distance, so I'm like, I'm flying, you know what I mean? I'm with the V8 now. I'm going to go a lot faster. And I pass him by, and you say what's up to the guy, and I'm like, I kind of raise my hands, like, why he goes so slow, man? But no, it's a beautiful truck. I think it was he and his wife, or he and someone else in the car. They were both real happy to see the other truck, so it was kind of cool. It was a cool moment. Olive saying, if I were richer, my Volvo would just be in a nicer state of paint and mods. 100%. My pops was just talking about that with me because, you know, he flipped cars for a long time. He's like, Ari, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, why don't you just find a car and, a little better on gas, this and that. And I was like, Pop, you know, I don't mind the idea, but in the same breath, you know, if I'm going to spend money, I'd rather just put it in the truck. It's what I use. You know what I mean? Tom Brown saying, Mopar Nut, our driver's ed instructor would just randomly make you pull over and change a tire. Girls, guys, rain or shine, I miss him. See, we need people like that. We really do. Because I mean, it sounds impractical. It sounds kind of whatever, but in the same breath, it's like you're making productive people doing that. That's real teaching. Barrow's Garage is saying, the funny thing is, the rest of the world is heavy on manual transmissions. Here in the U.S., it's nearly impossible to buy a new one with a manual. I was I told, I don't know if I mentioned already, I was helping my friends move this weekend. And one of my friends, she moved to a place with her boyfriend, and his dad has an old square body that he's trying to sell, and it's an automatic. And I was like, is he trying to get rid of this thing? He's like, yeah, do you want it? I'm like, Yes. So I mean, there may be some square body in my near future, guys. I don't know. I don't want to, hype nothing up, but fingers crossed for me. If I can get the square body, I want to grab it. So that would be my fancy automatic transmission truck. John's saying that my dad wouldn't let us kids leave the house when we first got our license until we successfully put the spare on and returned the car back to normal in the garage with the contents of the car. That's pretty badass. I'm gonna have to do that kind of stuff with my son. Mopar Nut saying, yep, and how to threshold brake without ABS. Lost art. Yeah, true. That's one of those things, you know what I mean? If you drive something old enough for long enough, you don't realize how much finesse you're exercising. You don't realize how much you're compensating for certain things. You know what I mean? You just kind of get used to it. You do it. So it's hard to explain as a skill. All I'm saying, when I had my yellow F-150, I felt pretty socially obligated to be equipped for roadside rescue. Dave Lewis is saying, with the cost of new trucks, I'm going to do a square body. See, Dave? I'm tapping into your genius, brother. Paul Bijou is saying, I drive a 20-year-old Volvo, a 25-year-old pickup, and a 50-year-old car. Yeah, see, you can't beat that. Tom Brown saying, I must have raced too long. I still love the feel of manual brakes. Yeah. Barrow's Garage is saying, the automatic choke will be engraved on the stones of history by the alien anthropologist as the decline of the species that amused itself to death. Olive saying, my Volvo turned 30 recently, I guess. I'm slightly older than your car, Olive. Opar not saying 71 Charger, 74 and 76 Charger, 87 Ram Charger is my daily. That's a lot of Mopar, man. Kevin Clancy's saying, I loved helping Dad put the snow tires on with the bumper jack as a kid. Always had to pause and look at the jacked up rake of the Vega. Olive saying, I need one of those 300,000 mile grill badges. That is a point of pride. Buff Del Campo saying, our driver's training cars had a brake pedal on the instructor's side. Our instructor would make us drive with two wheels in dirt. He'd stomp on the brake. This was anti-lock brakes. We had to turn into the skid and get the car straight again. See, that's really cool. They did away with driver's ed in school by the time I was in school. So I really had to learn by trial and error. And I had to test in my dad's car, which was one of those Toyotas that got recalled for the acceleration issue. So that thing was a pain in the ass, and I knew nothing. So it was not the easiest thing. Nathan's Mopar Garage is saying, don't forget to pump the gas before you crank it. It took a while to break that habit when I started driving an EFI car. Nathan, they used to get so pissed at me when they'd install the snipers and I still pumped the gas. Abel D saying, true, my little 9-year-old can change his own tire on a VW Beetle. The level of confidence is awesome when he finished and smiled and ran to tell his mommy what he accomplished. That's badass. Tom Brown saying, Kevin, I have a pick of me changing a trans in a 72 Skylark with nothing but the bumper jack. To be a dumb kid. Olive saying, we just went drifting every snowy day. Olive, I was just talking to one of the really my boss. He's from Montreal, and he was talking about drifting in the snow. I was telling him about you and the Volvo. Paul's saying, Buff, you and I must have learned to drive around the same time. Buff Del Campo saying, I learned to drive in a 69 Torino 2-door hardtop. What a badass car. Yeah, I had like a Camry and then the 1990 300E Mercedes-Benz, which, man, that thing was a death trap. I wouldn't even want to drive that now. Mopar Man saying, I took my driver's test in my first car, 1965 Dodge Dart 4-door sedan, slant 6, 170, auto on the column. Andy saying, daughter just turned 7. She loves jacking up cars, so I can do work on them. Paul saying, I learned on a 59 International pickup. Oh, yeah, you got to be badass. Andy saying, she helped me bleed brakes many times as well. I kept the old Rochester off of the 6-cylinder just so I could have my son rebuild it. I have a kit, too. I don't know if he's ready quite yet, but I kind of want to throw it at him. I think he could do it. I think he could do it. Mopar Nut 62 saying my first car was a two-door 75 grand Fury. I used to do 180s and 360s in it. Buffalo Campos saying I took my driver's test in my 64 Ford Galaxy. That's a sweet car too. John saying my first car had a cool security system, park switch. Would only engage if you pulled the stick on the column upward. Nobody could start my car. I'm weird about neutral safety switches. I mean, unless I know they've got their purpose, but if I can avoid them, I will. I was reading this hot rod book that was, saying for your safety's sake, you should have a secondary button that you push, that otherwise you can't start your car. And it's like even if you got something old like my truck, like install a button. So I got to hold down a button, otherwise I can't start my car. And I'm sitting there like, it's a shame I don't have some kind of lever or button that I could push that would make it safe to start my car, whether it were in gear or not. You know what I mean? It seems so redundant to me. I was like, I don't. Poor man saying I got that dart while still in high school before I graduated in 97. They used to be those kind of cars to where you could grab them for a few $100 and they were dependable and something cool to mess with, and they had appeal because they're cool cars. 68 LTD wagon for Paul. John saying 68 Fairlane, still got that thing. That's badass. GTI Warrior saying my first car was an 85 Subaru wagon. I guess it's got its own level of gangster. How you doing, Chris? Welcome, brother. Sand Mountain Ballistic saying I'm not really a fan of neutral safety switch. Able D saying Ari, rebuild the Rochester with him, then bring him over to try it on my Landy. I'm running single barrel on my Landys. Yeah, I kept the one off the 6-cylinder, and I kept my oil bath filter just because I ran it for so many years. I felt really attached to it. I didn't want to let it go. So when I sold the engine to the gentleman, Richard, I gave him my spare Rochester, and I figured he could use his own oil bath. Tom Brown saying, I learned to drive in a 53 Chevy grain truck. My brother would steer and run the pedals. I would navigate and run the stick. To this day, if he is driving and is eating, I'll naturally shift for him. That's badass. Hunter's saying, you mean the clutch, Ari? Yeah. Paul's saying, my first car I had on the road was a 61 Pontiac Tempest, 4-cylinder, 4-barrel. John saying, I could have jumped the switch, but I like the quirk. I mean, if it's already there, John, it's like, just run it. But I mean, as far as like going out of my way to install one, it's like, why? Maybe if I had a remote start or something, sure, but Barrow's Garage is saying, I wonder how many people bang their head on the steering wheel trying to reach the starter button on a 50 Chevy pickup. Buff Del Campo's got a good point. He's saying put a micro switch on the clutch pedal so it'll only start with the clutch depressed. I need to get another micro switch, Buff. I don't know how I would go about that, is engaging my reverse lights with the top loader. Because with the old shifter linkage, I figured I could put a micro switch on there pretty easily, but I don't know how I would go about that. Like how would I use a pressure switch to engage my reverse lights with the top loader? That's beyond me. And D saying I grew up on Model A's. Definitely want to make sure it's neutral when hand cranking. Hell yeah. All I'm saying, when I put the small block in the Duster, she was a standard with a hidden manual choke. Joyriders would have been confused 3 seasons a year. Tom Brown saying I just sold one of those Trophy 4s last year. I'm unenlightened. I don't think I've ever even seen one. Andy's asking Paul, did the rope drive shaft make any noise on the Tempest? GTI Warrior is asking if the trans doesn't have a provision for that. I don't think it does, Chris. I think my truck has reverse lights. They're not wired currently, and when they were wired, they were attached to the column shifter. So it had the for the 3 on the tree position for reverse, it would have engaged the reverse lights. But none of that wiring was there when I bought the truck, so I don't really have much for reference. So I wanted to kind of bypass that, just run a separate harness for the reverse lights with a pressure switch. But, obviously that's something easier to do with the linkage on a Hurst shifter versus this the SM420, the top loader. Tom Brown said, I always wanted to put a micro switch on the starter crank. Hunter saying those Trophy 4s are awesome. They're half a 389 with the same head. Take the same head. That's pretty rad. Buff Del Campo saying, I had a car with a manual switch for the backup lights. I forgot to shut it off a couple of times. And I put a momentary switch on it. No, Olive, no sender on the transmission that I know of. GTI Warrior saying, for example, the Road Ranger trans in the trucks has a contact switch threaded into it. No, nothing that I could see. Like I said, there's nothing visible. That the SM420 I have is technically incomplete. It's supposed to have like a trans brake type lever on it as well that I don't have. So, there may have been something on the trans brake that I don't know about, but I doubt it. So, I'd have to look it up. I got this huge. Let's see if I can pull this out without destroying it. It's not new. Come on, man. I should probably look at this before I go bugging you guys about it. It's pretty in depth there. But Nunzi Super Duty Trophy for Tempest. You have to write it down because I'm dumb. Oh, I'm saying all you got to do is stick a moon pie on your micro switch. Place the moon pie so the shift lever hits it when you go into reverse. Abel D is saying just install a clapper to activate your reverse lights. I did that at work the other day. I'm so used to working by myself that working with a team or having somebody help me is like, it kind of almost throws me off. I'm not going to be that ass that says it slows me down at all, but it's just like, you're going to do, so I'm not doing that. What do I do? My brain's dumb. But it's funny, the guy I work with, Jeremiah, really nice dude. I think he's like 21 years old, really smart dude. But he's like, hey, I'm going to grab the rotors. And I think he got distracted with something else, and he didn't end up grabbing the rotors. And I was like, rotor boy. And it was, I was pretty proud of that. Everybody laughed. Buff Del Campo saying the first engine I rebuilt was a Trophy 4. I'm going to have to look this up. I need to know more. Andy saying we just started putting miles on a 62 Tempest convertible. The rope shaft bearings sealed, and it sounds like one of them might be going bad. Girls Garage saying, I love finding old shop manuals that are beat up and used like that. Sometimes you find handwritten notes in them. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to go through this one. But it's a complete 1960 Chevy truck, so it's got like the HD trucks and as well as mine, you know what I mean? But how much information am I going to find in there that I've just had to guess all these years and everything else? Andy saying that Tempest has reverse lights on the body. Sorry, I'm looking around looking around this Holly. But no wiring or switch to the transmission. Yeah, I didn't know how to go about that because I know it used to be engaged by the column shifter wiring harness, but that was yanked out when I bought the truck. There was a lot of janky wiring in that truck. and a lot of bad splices, just weird. I still need to go through it. I still need to go through the wiring harness of that truck. I don't know whether to buy a painless kit or just redo what's there. I'll probably get one of the American Auto Wire kits, not a painless. Buff Del Campos is saying, I did that Trophy 4 in 1971 in high school auto shop. We had everything there. I did the valve job myself. Felt so good when I started it. That it's pretty damn rewarding. It is pretty damn rewarding. I mean, I didn't do a lot of the more intricate work on this 350. Obviously, the short block was very sound, so I didn't have to do much there. And the machinist was kind enough to assemble the heads for me. So I mean, I just threw it together, but still, you know what I mean? It was a friggin' pile of parts with a misfire when I bought it, and I turned it into something usable, and now I use it every damn day. So it's like that's it's really rewarding. To me, it's almost the more work I do, the scarier it gets because I'm just sitting there like, well, like you touch that, if it breaks, you don't have anyone else to blame. It's kind of weird. Barrels Garage is saying the Speedway 22 circuit universal kit is the one I use all the time. Been good and comes with everything you need and more. Buff Del Campo saying about 10 years later it was all gone. High school eliminated all the shop classes. When I went into high school, they asked me what electives I wanted to do, and I said auto shop, metal shop, or drama. And they didn't have drama. There was another school. The other high school was famous for that. They had a big program. They said we don't do metal shop anymore. We have an auto shop, but you're working on mainly electric motors. So I was like, all right, I'll do ceramics. So I made shit out of clay. Got my Patrick Swayze on. John saying shop class was such fun. Yeah, you know what I mean. I had buddies who did it. They got I think like AC motors or something running, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to knock it, but in the same breath, it's like I wanted to work on a car. It took me so many years to realize that it's like it doesn't take much. If you got some basic tools and just feel like taking a few on the chin, you can. You know what I mean? You can work on whatever. Andy saying that Trophy 4 is a pretty peppy motor, a lot more responsive than the 170 and the wife's Falcon. Tom Brown saying in high school, I helped the hardware store guy I worked with rebuild his 29 Chevy touring car. First engine I ever did, babbited bearings. It was cool. I learned a ton. That's one thing I really would like to do is cast some Babbitts. I can cast bullets, I can cast Babbitts, right? I mean, Paul saying now there's a shortage of tradesmen. Yeah, which is sad because I mean it's like you see a lot of people who got a lot of potential. I mean, not myself. Obviously, I'm a lost cause, but I mean, a lot of people who are interested. A lot of people could do a lot better if they had more nurturing at a young age. Not every. A lot of people are lucky. They got a dad to kick them in the ass and tell them you got to do this, but some of us don't. Hunter's out for the night. See, I'm calling it. Take care, y'all. Hunter, have a great night, brother. Have a great week. Make sure to check your fluids, man. Buff Del Campo saying I took electric shop, metal shop, and auto shop. I also took 4 years of drafting. Here I got an MS-DOS computer with a CAD. All that drafting really paid off. Really fast with CAD. Drafting's a beautiful thing to me. Poor man saying shop classes should be mandatory like PE. I was one of those lazy kids, Mopar man. I didn't want to exercise for no reason. Then as soon as I got into, I did high school wrestling. As soon as I did that, we trained like hell, and it was cool because there was a reason. It's like you're training for something. I'm not just exerting energy. It's a waste of kinetic energy. Dave Lewis is saying, I get 3 to 5 job offers a week now. Dave, you're kind of next level though, man. I'm not surprised by that at all. There's not a lot of people as qualified as you. John's saying, getting real tired of waiting for less than competent tradespersons to not show up is how I taught myself how to do a bunch of crap around the house I don't really love doing myself. See also, get off my lawn. Cardboard designing in my shop now. Cardboard aided design. Paul Pajui saying video games were the worst thing that ever happened to young people. Yeah, I got a lot of friends that just kind of waste time on that. And don't get me wrong, I like video games. It's cool to mess around with them, but when I get into stuff like that, there's this aching feeling in the back of my head that there's something more important I should be doing. Andy saying, I'm the opposite. I've only cast Babbitt bearings a few times. Have the stuff to do bullets, but haven't had time to try yet. Andy, you can get everything from Ace Hardware. You can buy lead ingots, and the solder is, they sell solder that's just tin and antimony, so you can, any reloading manual should have the ratios you need for whatever purpose you're casting for, which bullets or whatever. But that's all you need is just lead ingots and some soldering wire, and you can make some really good blends. And then casting's trial and error, especially if you've got old iron molds and everything. So you just get a hang of it. Find what temperature it likes. When you actually get good castings, when they're not glazed over or frosty or nothing. It's fun, man. Buffed Ocampo saying, I'm going to use that in a video. Cardboard aided design. I love it. Paul saying bingo. Yeah, pretty much, man. It's hard to, you know what I mean? You can kill a little bit of time, And if you do it like that, not in excess, it's the same thing as like throwing horseshoes or whatever. You're just playing a game, killing some time, having fun. But it's like if you dedicate, if I'm sitting there for more than an hour just basically doing nothing, I don't know. But sometimes it's nice, I guess, like playing solitaire or something, just something to occupy the mind. But I don't know. GTI Warrior is saying it looks like the SM420 only came with a reverse light switch in '67 when it became mandatory. I wonder if I could find that and adapt it. That's probably not a highly reproduced piece there. Buff Del Campo saying Kim is a CAD operator as well. We use a lot of cardboard. Kim does some crazy stuff. He's a real smart person there. John saying, yep, music composition major here. Programming computers turns out to be a similar mental process. People even pay you for it. Rose Grider saying, I majored in art, but artists don't make any money until they're dead. So I did other things. Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know. Like I said, whatever. I never saw myself doing this kind of stuff for a living, working on cars, whatever it may be. But somehow I manage. I don't know. Somehow. Pop this guy up. GTI Warrior saying the best way to do it would probably be to install a bracket and contact switch for the linkage to push on, or swap a '67 top plate in. I wonder if I could, man. Like I said, it's got that weird like top loader snout thing, so there's not a lot of places to. I guess it would be above the hump of the transmission if I placed a switch to make contact with the link. A box of biscuits, a box of mixed biscuits, a box of mixed biscuits, and a biscuit mixer. Oh, man. Tom Brown saying a local school is canceling shop, music, and drama next year. I may need to move for my daughter's sake or homeschool. Yeah, that's kind of a bummer, man. It was really dull for me. It was really, really dull. And I mean, I feel like around my era, a lot of the parents were kind of like soaked into their own thing or reality TV or whatever it may be. So that, I don't know. Kids were just dumb. No one was doing their own thing. I hear about the previous generations, like, yeah, we are building cars, we were doing this, we were doing that. We were out in the middle of nowhere fussing around with something or another. Or we were fighting a war. You know what I mean? And us, it was like we went to the skating rink and drank outside, stole our parents' cigarettes. I don't know. Buff Del Campo saying, Barrow's Garage, I have a friend that majored in art at the art center in Pasadena. It's mostly an auto body design school. He was the lead designer on several cars at Honda. He's retired now. Andy saying, I got the ingots, adjustable temp pot, molds, wax. Just not the time. 98 grain, 32 Smith & Wesson long. Oh, that'll be fun, man. That'll be fun, man. You can do some nice hard cast lead and make your own lube for them and everything. And when you do get the time, that's going to be a great project, man. Jonathan Drums is saying, Mario Wonder is delightful. I'll admit, my kiddo and I like the problem-solving aspect of playing two-player. At least that's what I tell myself. Yeah, John, see, stuff like that, like, playing some Mario Kart or something, you know what I mean? It's really pretty harmless. But, when I was a younger kid, it was like they started with the whole online thing, and you sit there and you play for hours and you waste time, and it's consuming. Olive saying, I wonder if there's a moon pie shaped dog toy for the reverse switch. These are real moon pie, Olive. They hold up pretty well. I got to send everybody moon pies just so you guys can sit there, have a moon pie and black coffee. Just live my life for a second. Barrow's Garage is saying, Buff Del Campo, my family used to ask why I don't use my art anymore, and I tell them I do. I just drive them when I'm done. Yeah, Barrows, yeah, I've seen a little, like, some of your caricatures and little stuff like that, man. You're really, really damn talented, obviously. I mean, I'm sure you know that, man. I don't need to tell you, but I think it's really cool. It'd be cool to see more of it, but I like the cars. All I'm saying, actually recently did a basically decorative painting to be a certain size and shape to cover something here. That's pretty cool. Paul's saying learning how things work and how to fix them is important for critical thinking development. Definitely. Definitely. It's something it kind of bugs me, you know what I mean? Because it's like here I am as an adult learning all this stuff and kind of, learning the hard way and everything else. I feel like if someone would have recognized, my drive to mess with stuff as a kid, I could be a little ahead of the curve, but I mean, it doesn't matter, I guess. How much can you do? Abel D saying, Ari, you need a sticker on the back of your Apache. I live my life one moon pie at a time. That's a pretty good one. It's a really good one. I've been having trouble finding them lately. Normally the 7-Eleven here has them, but they stopped buying them. So I got to order some. I want to just order a pallet of them. I wish I could order a pallet of moon pies. Andy saying, I've been using trash cardboard for templates forever. First time I heard it called cardboard aided drawing was on Project Banky. Yeah, cardboard's great. Cardboard or tape templates are great too if you're feeling real, bougie. You really want to waste some tape. Rose Garage is saying Italy has the Mona Lisa, Germany has Beethoven. We have the hot rod and the gallery history. Don't forget Frederick Remington. Tom Brown saying, Buff, I feel the same way. And also custom knife making. They're trying to outlaw those too. I would really like to have a nice custom Bowie knife. I really would. Bowie knife, Bowie knife, long glitter and steel. Well, Barmania got to do that, man. Appreciate it though, bro. I think I can order them off of Amazon. I'm just like, I just feel like I should. I feel like I should be able to buy them. Maybe Walmart has them. Last time I checked, Walmart didn't have them, and then Walmart had them. There's no consistency here. It's not a Californian thing. Dave Lewis is saying, I never stop learning. It keeps me going. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, yeah. Yeah, I guess. You know what I mean? I feel like I just always feel like I got so much to learn. It's a little overwhelming sometimes. I'm like, man, but it's like the guy who does my exhaust, I went over there and I was telling him about the truck and everything, and he's like, "Are you a mechanic?" And I was like, "No, man, I'm an idiot." He's like, "Oh, so you're a mechanic?" So, I guess it's what it is. Just learn as you go. Fake it till you make it. Some people say, right? Buff Del Campo's saying I have a stack of cereal boxes. That's my gasket and template material. The cereal box gasket, something I want to try. I've had a lot of really reputable people tell me to do it, but I haven't done it. John saying K-bar. I have a nice K-bar, John. I just don't have a good sheath for it. Paul is saying you should learn something new every day. I try, man. Olive saying I could use a little working sheath knife around the land here. John saying cereal box and Vaseline carb gasket. I'm weird. I always grease the gaskets. I don't know. I just it's if I can, as long as I know it's not going to interfere with anything, I grease the gaskets. Check your fluids. Grease your gaskets. Andy saying when we did the floors in our Falcon, we upgraded to Dollar Tree poster paper and tape. One poor man saying, "Well, if you think of something from the from Branson area, already let me know." Yeah, man. Can't think of anything offhand. I mean, at least not anything that would ship well. Tom Brown saying, "Buff, I used original Budweiser boxes for carb gaskets for years. They had a wax coating on them and would seal up airtight." Obviously, that copper spray someone's always on about. They say to put it on stuff. I've never used it. Terrence is saying, I'll have to email you a few pics of my bayonet and knife collection one of these days. Already, I've got a few. Please, Terrence, I'd love to see it, man. I used to have a couple, but they were just cheapies. They were like some of the surplus that got sold to like some of the Eastern European countries. Nothing fancy. Terrence, I was listening to the Pixies earlier. I was thinking of you, brother. John's saying, "Ooh, fancy poster paper and tape." Holden Man TC is in the chat. What's going on, brother? Welcome. More man saying, "Use cotton balls with Vaselina makes a great survival fire starter." Puff Del Campo saying, "Kim eats a lot of cereals. I'm always telling her, don't throw that box away." I've been eating a lot less cereal lately. I don't know, maybe, I don't think that's a good thing. Barrow's Garage saying Vaseline was the go-to for carb gaskets back in the day. Makes them reusable, and if a little gets in the carb, it doesn't hurt anything. I have it's the stupid First Responder Garage hates it. It's Lubriplate, the Napa Lubriplate. It's assembly lube. And it makes me worry that First Responder Garage doesn't like it, but I've used it for a long time, so it's like, hey. All of a sudden, I got a couple decent swords and folders anyway. I always got it's a book. It's like the 110, but watch me cut myself right now. It's like the 110, but it's a 110 plus. And I liked it because it's not wood and brass. Because I figured if I'm actually using this thing out in nature, you know what I mean, the wood's going to swell, the brass will mar, and it's got this nice grip on it too. So if I got cold hands or wet hands or whatever, I could still use it. And it was 20 bucks at Walmart. So it's like, use the damn thing, you know? Hey, night, Brad. Thanks so much for stopping in, brother. I appreciate you, man. Have a great week. Be safe out there. Check your fluids. GTI Warrior saying, ain't nothing wrong with Lubriplate 105. It's good stuff, right? I mean, I think he was, Chris, I think First Responder Garage was saying he had some issue with corrosion from it, which I haven't experienced yet, but I don't know. Now I'm worried, like it's a possibility. Andy saying the copper spray is really good on the Model A copper head gasket. Mopar Man saying spray on copper Permatex is great on factory replacement and exhaust manifold gaskets. Fills those pinholes and helps seal and stops hot spots that cause burnout gaskets. John saying a fella goes through phases of eating a lot of cereal. I'm doing a lot of cardio. My body is dying for carbs around 9 p.m. and out comes a bowl. I've been slacking on the cardio lately. I've been slacking on everything lately. Just been working. John, yeah, and grease your gaskets. We got to add that now. It's check your fluids and grease your gaskets. Barrel's Garage is saying copper coat worked great where it's needed for sure. I still use it to this day on steel shim head gaskets. That was the only place I was told to really use it was steel shim gaskets, and yeah, I think that's it. I don't think anyone else called for it. Tom Brown saying most makers use stabilized wood nowadays, so it won't swell. What did I miss there? Is that? Oh, for the knife? That makes sense. I don't know. I mean, I like the old classic 110, but this one, it's lighter, it's grippy, it's stainless. It just seemed like a good package. The food nerds in the chat. Howdy, Ma. GTI Warrior saying it's an oil-based grease that reverts to oil under heat and pressure. I don't see how it would cause corrosion. Me either, brother. Like I said, he had some bad experience with it. You know what I mean? And that dude's worked on everything. So it's like it worried me, because I haven't had a bad experience with it, but he has. And it's like, well, what was it? You know what I mean? Yeah, Damien from First Responder Garage is a damn good mechanic. That guy's gnarly. Really gnarly dude. But so I really, if he says something, I listen. But I'm still using my Lubriplate, so I guess I didn't listen well enough. Mopar Man saying Kershaw brand knives are better than most knife companies because they use stainless steel blades that don't keep an edge long. I prefer the carbon steel. Genuinely, I do. But again, for the pocket knife, it just seemed practical. Holden Man TC's asking when I'm coming down to Australia. Victoria. Geez, man, if I hit the lottery, I'm coming straight down. And DC, not really anything of my own stuff for sale, but I know a few up here for sale. Abel, I think I might be able to find you some old Ford stuff up in the Pacific Northwest, a little closer to Massachusetts. Unfinished Project is out of bed and in the chat. What's going on, brother? How are you? Tom Brown saying, I have a long list of orders, but I'll keep you in mind for a Bowie, Ari. I appreciate it, Tom. Like, geez, if it ain't a pain in the ass, man, I'll put away some pennies. But I just, you know what I mean? It's nice to have them. I used to have a more extensive knife collection, but I got this one. I got the old K-Bar. My favorite was my Swiss Army knife, but I left that with my mom in Arkansas. It's the one with the stamped aluminum, real basic Swiss Army knife. Sharp, Victorinox, easy as hell. Easy as hell. Old Man TC's looking for a Model T. Girls Garage is saying First Responders are great guys. One of those guys you could bounce ideas off for hours and never have a dull moment. Yeah, no, he's a really smart dude. But I mean, all you guys are like that. You know what I mean? I spit something out and you guys give me a bunch of answers, and I'm lucky for it. Really, you know what I mean? It makes me happy that have such, up there folks on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the stupid YouTube channel. All of a sudden, I got a Kershaw multi-tool with the needle nose vice grips. Not a very well-designed multi-tool otherwise. Been wearing it for like 20 years because of the vice grips. Unfinished project saying I just woke up. Figured I'd check in. Appreciate it, man. I'm sorry to interrupt your sleep, brother. He's just mad about. She's mad about saffron. Call me mellow yellow. Mexican Spec saying. Mexican Spec, is that Jamie or is that Jaime? Saying to be on with Tony on Wednesday. How cool is that? One poor man saying I have a bunch of old leaves from leaf springs laying around. I might start making some homemade knives out of them. That'd be cool. You can make some good slappers too for body work. Older man TC saying the Model T Ford is my mate's car, sold when he's only 16. He's looking for it again. Nice. Buff Del Campo saying I just had a computer blue screen of death. I'm back. I missed a few minutes of the live. You didn't miss much, Buff. I was just yapping. Tom Brown saying you need to look for a hard to find small Swiss Army knife called the Midnight Manager. One of my EDC. Very small but useful. I believe it, man. I really love those little things, man. They stay sharp. Little funky tools to help you. I'm writing it down, Tom. Tapo Garage is in the chat. Older man TC saying if anyone has a Model T Ford, please let me know. Not I, brother. I do not have I don't have any old Ford. No Ford. I wouldn't mind having a Ford. I just don't have any Ford. Oh, poor man saying speaking of classic songs, Buff Del Campo saying Wednesday, I'm always on Slant Daily Garage with Dallas Brown. Tony's on at the same time, so I miss it. Oh, yeah, I like Dallas and Shane's chat. I always go to Tony's just because I'm supposed to moderate, so you know what I mean. But I really like both. Shane's a smart dude. Dallas is great. I love the shit out of Dallas. But unfinished project saying I recently got a bunch of old circular saw blades for making blanks. Tom Brown saying Mopar man, if they were pre-1976, they're almost always 5160 steel. Very good for larger blades that will take some impact. I have one of those old the Marine Corps had them, those like thick machetes with the rounded edge on them. My mom has it. My mom's got all my crap. Andy saying I got several Kershaws, carry a very used basic Swiss Army knife, and a well-used Leatherman daily. Dave Lewis is saying there was a 26T last summer, but it's sold. Damn. Barrow's Garage is saying my old laptop did that all the time as well. Poor thing's 15 years old. Had a hard life bouncing all over the country. Yeah, my laptop, I think I might be able to make it work. I think I need to just plug the Ethernet into it because the internet here is not that great. I think that would make her work decent, but it'd probably be better than streaming off the phone like this. I'm bouncing around and that's probably bugging you guys. I'm sorry. But Older Man TC saying I'm looking for my dream truck, Chevy C10 pickup. Sold mine when I was 12 years old. If anyone has one, looking for my truck. I sold it. I want it back now. I hope it's still in Australia, man. If any of us find it, that means it's a little far gone. Buffdale Compost saying we're building a car with a slant, so I don't miss anything that Slant Daily does. I'm really glad we have that Valiant. It's the second A body I've owned, and I like it a lot. I have some spare parts, Buff. I know I've been saying to Tony for years, I got a clutch. I got a Slant 6 clutch. I got some stock pistons. I've got a few spare things. Oh, poor man saying, Tom Brown, possibly. I was also thinking of making small pocket knives or Curves tactical blades, like a Velociraptor claw. Those are always cool knives. Tom Brown saying, old metal files are great too. Nicholson and Diamond are 1095. Stubbs of England were W2 or silver steel, their version of 52-100 ball bearing steel. Oh, they're called karambit knives. Tabo's saying slant sixes make great boat anchors down here. Tabo, if I could get myself a Hemi 6, I don't know if I'd want to waste my time on a slant 6, but I wasted a lot of time and money on one, so I guess I can't say much. Yeah, DC is a big fan of Mora knives, like smaller knives. Sorry, really like smaller knives, a lot easier to carry. Big fan of Mora knives as well. I'm unenlightened. I've never read about them. I always like the classic stuff. Like I said, the K-bar I have is real nice. It's he keeps an edge really well. That the high carbon. I don't know what grade of steel that is, Tom, but the old high carbon steel. Those even just old. I used to collect old kitchen knives like that because they would hold such an edge. Buffdo Compost saying I'm sitting at the table now with a completely disassembled Valiant dash. I'll probably call it soon, guys. GTI Warriors and Moras are great, high quality Scandi blades are valuable prices. Oh, at value prices. Ah, yes. Scandinavian, mysterious, alpine, sausage. Man, I'm done. You guys can just tell I'm completely uncultured and from Southern California. Expensive and really good. Come with a sheath. I'm going to have to look that up. I'm writing it down. It's going on the list. It's going on the list, guys. Try to enlighten myself here. High quality Scandinavian blades at value prices. Ah, there we go. I'll write that down too, Tom. Thank you. 1095. Let's see. Tom Brown saying most kitchen cutlery steel before stainless became popular in the 60s were almost always 1095 high carbon. Woodmill saw blades were made of the same stuff. I love that stuff. I used to have like I don't know what the knife's called. It's like a butcher's knife, but it's like long and it's rounded at the end. But I used to have one of those that was made out of the 1095 HC. And my God, it was just such a great tool. I mean, just a little once over with a stone, or I had a little piece of carbide I would go over them with, and it made a world of difference. Olive saying good sheath is everything. If you wear it, definitely. Don't want to shiv yourself. Hey, Nate Mayfield's in the chat saying, hey, all right, made it to a live. Howdy, Nate. How are you, man? I'm glad you made it. I haven't been uploading much lately, so it's cool to yap with people on here. How's everything going, man? How's the old 300 treating you? Andy saying Mora also made one with a cork handle that floats. That's pretty great. Tom Brown saying Old Hickory. Yes, yes, those things are amazing. GTL Warriors, all right, they have a Scandi grind, think two-sided chisel grind, no secondary bevel. Fancy. Fancy. Nate Mayfield's doing good. Glad to hear that, Nate. He's saying she's buzzing along. 444,000 miles on his 300 Ford 306. What a badass engine, man. I'm still a little sad the old 235 gave the ghost, but the V8 is a good positive change. Mexican Spec saying, adios, Saul. Time for bed. I'm wiped out. Have a good night, Mexican Spec. Have a great week, brother. Be safe out there. If you want my phone number, email me, man. Send you my phone number. Be safe. Be really safe. It's Mexico. A lot of shit happens. Check your fluids and grease your gaskets, man. All I'm saying, though I did get what could have been a bargain that came with a great sheath, useful blade that'd be street legal. I forgot I had it on and went to town. Still no good though. Holden man's asking how much would you sell the Chevy truck for? Would you sell it for a good price? I don't think I could ever part with the truck, Holden man. I really don't. She's like it's like part of my whole thing, you know what I mean? I'd feel sad if I didn't get to drive my truck around. I don't know. I don't think I could ever let her go, Holden man. Spencer's drink reviews and chugs is in the chat. Howdy, Spencer. Terry Grover. Hey, all right. What's up, stranger? Hello, everyone. What's going on, Terry? How are you, man? I caught you for a second in First Responder Garages Live. It was good. It's always good to talk to you, man. GTI Warrior saying, all right, I emailed you some links for reverse light mods on the 420. Thanks, brother. Nate Mayfield saying, don't ever sell it. No, I really couldn't, Nate. I've gotten some ridiculous offers on that truck, but you know what I mean? It's different. It's like not even a vehicle at this point. It's like part of my whole self, you know? I don't know. Buff Del Campo saying, hang on to that truck. I let my first car go after 17 years. It was a 64 Ford. I wish I hadn't let it go. Yeah, the Galaxy's a sweet car, Buff. That would have been a great one. Again, you know, I've always heard so many stories like that. Well, I had one, but I sold it, and I was just like, well, you know, I better hold on to mine. Plus, my son likes it a lot. It's kind of his truck. Dabble Garage is saying, let's sell my Ute for a good price. A very good price for me, that is. Andy saying it's midnight. I got to call it. See you later. Andy, thanks so much for stopping in, man. I'll probably call it soon as well. But I hope you have a good week, brother. Be safe out there. Check your fluids, man. Tom Brown saying, if anyone has old 30s, late 40s Studebaker springs, those are damn good steel for blades. But a bit of a learning curve to work with. I can't imagine that's the easiest thing to do. Blacksmithing's not, you know, that's not something to you just jump into. Nate Mayfield saying, I regret selling my 78 Trans Am. That was a car. Yeah, see, it's always something like that. You know, you let something go and it's like, will you ever find another one? And then me, it's like, you know, I put so many miles down in this truck, learned so much with it, cut my teeth on it that it's like, it's like a member of the family, you know? Terry Grover saying, doing well. Trying to get my intake knocked out for the 460 Ford, finishing the heads for the 55 Chevy. All time consuming. Yeah, you guys do some crazy work over there. That 55 is going to scoot, though. That's a sweet car. And the 460 is going to be a friggin' monster, man. Absolute monster. That thing's going to be scary. Drive shaft twisting scary. John Wilburn timed. I think that was an accident. Howdy, John. Tom Brown is saying I jumped into it when I was 7 years old. I had done I've had some practice. Yeah, that's stuff. I mean, that's like, I mean, that's next level stuff. It's old. That old world stuff like that is indispensable to me, especially. I got such a respect for guys that take the time to do that. Nate, I think you got timed out by accident. I apologize sincerely. Just think of a bunch of stuff to say and say it when you come back. Tom Brown saying, "Keep that truck, Art." Yeah, exactly, man. It's just that you can't let him go. Holden Man TC saying, "I regret selling my Holden Crewman Ute." Crewman, that's a cool name. It's a cool band. You ever listen to the Crewman? Buff Doe Compo's asking, Tom Brown, are bed frames any good for blades? Tried to cut them, weld them, never any luck. Dust Devil Garage is in the chat. What's going on, brother? Not much, man. Sitting over here running my mouth. All I'm saying, you can build really strong stuff with old bed frames. I lack experience. See, a lot of the old throwaway stuff is like super sought after now, or especially out here, California, people just replace everything, so it's not sitting around in excess. You go up north, and there's all kinds of crap. You go to an antique shop, it's completely full. Buffalo Compost saying I've ruined drill bits with bed frames. See, I gotta want to read about this more. But yeah, guys, I'll probably go ahead and call it a night. It's I've been ranting for a good hour 45, and I gotta get my lunch together for tomorrow. Get ready for a lovely week of work. Toil, a man's purpose. Now, got to get myself ready for tomorrow. And at this point, I've been ranting for about 3.5 hours. So I'll probably go ahead and call it. Tom Brown saying, Buff, I would have to have it in the fire to tell you for sure. So many different brands of steel from all over the world. I'm sure some are great. John saying there's got to be a joke about drill bits and bed frame. Yeah, I like it. Tom Brown saying you can always chap it up and forge weld it to known good steel and make Damascus pattern steel. Damascus. Grease your gaskets, check your fluids. Yeah, everybody, thanks so much for stopping in, man. It was a really cool live stream. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I appreciate you guys. Be safe out there. Have a good week. Have a prosperous week. Hope everything, everything kind of just comes together. Yeah, check your sleep, right? Thank everybody. And Dave Lewis is wondering how 8620 steel would work for a knife. It's a good question for Tom. Tom's a smart one. But yeah, thanks everybody. Like I said, it's always a great time yapping with everybody. And I'm sorry I had to stare at my face for so long, but it's a necessary evil here. Oh, thanks, guys. Have a great week. Check your fluids.